Hello you guys, it's Grace, and today I finished A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. It was so good, you guys. I loved it so much. I literally finished it like 10 minutes ago, and I needed to make a video like right now on my thoughts. Like, this is the first book I have finished and really liked in a while. Like a few months. Like, I've finished books, but it was just kind of like, meh, these are books I have to read or I feel obligated to finish reading. This book, I sat down and I just read it, and I loved reading it. So first, a basic summary if you haven't read it. This book is about a girl named Farah, and she is poor and she lives with her family. She lives with her dad and two sisters, and she's kind of the only one who can really do anything for the family because her sisters are kind of just meh, and then her dad is kind of grief-stricken and he's just kind of messed up in the head a little bit. So she does all the hunting, and one day she goes out and kills a big wolf who ends up being a fae, one of the fae in this spring court, and basically she has to go to the spring court to just stay there for the rest of her life for this treaty thing, and she meets the guy who's in charge there is named Tamlin, and there's a guy named Lucian, and basically she just has to stay at this court for her debt to be repaid. It's really good, so if you haven't read it yet, I highly recommend reading it. If you have, I'm going to go into a more detailed discussion of this book right now, a basic summary kind of to help if you are reading the second book, which comes out May 3rd, I believe. I'm going to be going and getting it like the day it comes out because I loved this book. So yeah, I hope this is helpful for you guys. If you haven't read this book yet, please exit out of this video, read it, and come back and watch the rest of it, and we can have a discussion. But if you have read it, here you go. So, anyway, just kind of moving on from where I was, Tamlin, when she finds out he's kind of like a high lord, because she didn't know that in the beginning, if I'm remembering correctly, I wasn't really surprised. I was like, okay, this guy is obviously royalty. Like, why are you so surprised? But anyway, then there's that, and I was really confused about Lucian and, like, a lot of the things Lucian did. He was just kind of a confusing character at first, but then towards the end, when you find out, like, a lot of things about his past, you kind of start to understand what Lucian had to go through, and it was fascinating to me to hear about all the different characters' lives. In some cases, I kind of had a hard time remembering the difference between, like, the bogey? I think that's how it's had to pronounce it in the back of the book. And, like, the one creepy guy. The Ator. I kept mixing up, like, Bogey and Ator, and I was like, wait, didn't this thing die? But no. I love Tamlin and Farah together. Like, they're so cute. I was fangirling for, like, half the book. It kind of was a slow start for me, just because, like, Tamlin and Farah didn't have, like, any romance until, like, 200 pages in, so I was kind of waiting for it, because I knew it was gonna happen, but I wasn't sure, like, when it was gonna happen, so I was just kind of waiting impatiently for them to get closer. They eventually did, obviously, but, and then, like, I thought it was kind of, like, I love how this author seems to always have, like, strong female characters. Like, Farah had to do a bunch of hunting for her family, and she was just a kick-butt character. Yeah, I like how Farah was, like, the rescuer instead of, like, that common male rescuing theme. It's like, yes, for once we have a strong female character, and I feel like there could be a love triangle later in the books with Rhys, Tamlin, and Farah, but I don't know, because, like, at first, Rhys just annoyed the crap out of me, and I was like, why would he do this? And then it was, like, explaining his motives and how he was, like, doing it to help his own court and, like, to save Farah so she could help Tamlin, and then Tamlin would kill Amarantha or whatever. I was just like, oh, well maybe this Reese guy isn't so bad, and I'm strangely attracted to him. Like, I don't know if that's just me or if anyone else who's read this book feels strangely attracted to Reese. Like, maybe it's just that bad boy vibe he's got going on, but heck yeah. Heck to the yeah. He's got something going on there. There was this one section that I didn't understand. Okay, so anyway, for this part, I'll just, like, read it. But I was so confused. So they were, like, talking about her going to Reese's court, and then they're saying goodbye, and then... So here's what it says. Well, goodbye for now, he said, rolling his neck as if we hadn't been talking about anything important at all. He bowed at the waist, those wings vanishing entirely, and had begun to fade into the nearest shadow when he went rigid. His eyes locked on mine, wide and wild, with his nostrils flared. Shock, pure shock, flashed across his features at whatever he saw on my face, and he stumbled back a step. Actually stumbled. What is, I began. He disappeared, simply disappeared, not a shadow in sight, into the crisp air. So I was, like, super confused about this part, because it didn't say what was on her face. It just said, at whatever he saw on my face. And I was like, well, now you have to tell us. What is this? I wanted to just figure out what the heck this was happening. Like, what was on her face? Why did he disappear? What is going on? I think I literally just stopped reading at that point and just, like, stared into space, like, what the heck? And then I kept reading because I was like, well, maybe it'll be explained later, and it wasn't. So anyway, I loved how this book ended with Farah and Tamlin back home, how she put it, because that's, like, her home, and it was where she was happy to be, and I was just like, oh. But I wonder, like, in the next book, the description made it sound like her guilt over killing the two high faes to escape and whatnot, it made it sound like those were a huge factor in the next book, and I don't know if that's going to be interesting or if it's just going to be kind of those, like, wallow in pity books, which I don't like. I don't like the books where the main character is, like, wallowing in pity, like New Moon in the Twilight Saga. No. I don't know if I mentioned this already, but I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. I debated a 4.5 out of 5 just because the beginning had no, like, I wasn't, like, zipping through the beginning, but it was still really interesting, and I loved it, and the end definitely made up for it, and it was just, like, had me gasping and, like, holding my breath the entire book, so it was amazing. I loved it so much, and I'm so glad I finally picked it up. The next book comes out in, like, less than a week, so yay for that. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I will hopefully be reading a lot faster now because my reading slump seems to be over. I'm pretty happy to be back reading again. So, yeah. Watch out for more videos. I'm probably going to be rereading the Iron Fae Call of the Forgotten series so I can read the third book, the final book in that series, which I haven't read yet, even though I bought it back in October on the day it came out. Logic. Anyway, yeah. Please like this video if you enjoyed it and want more book talks from me. Please comment below if you've read it and what you made of that one section that I read about Reese disappearing. I was confused. And subscribe to this channel for more videos about books. Bye!